Hey everyone, Happy New Year. It looks like a lot of new people have found this channel, and I wanted to make a quick video to say thank you and welcome. If you've been watching my videos for a while at this point, thank you for your continued support. It's kind of a nice chance to do a little reintroduction of myself. My name is Sam. I love to read. It's my biggest passion, and I've been making videos on this channel for almost 2 years. I try to make like monthly reading recaps. I try to make like seasonal-ish book haul videos, maybe a couple miscellaneous videos here and there. One of the things that has sort of shaped my reading experience over the last handful of years is that I've been living in Japan for about 7 or 8 years. It's really changed a lot of the books I've been able to get my hands on, and the things I've drifted towards or gravitated to has in some ways been dictated by what I'm physically able to get my hands on. So I wanted to do like a quick like introduction of myself and talk about what sort of books you could expect to see if you watch my videos. And I was thinking about doing like a top 10 books or top 10 writers. But those lists, it's always really hard for me to dwindle everything down. Like it gets really difficult to choose, right? I get sort of attached to all the books and all the writers that I would inevitably have to leave off such a list. So I've narrowed the parameters a little bit. I'm going to talk about 5 of my favorite writers, some of which are, among my ultimate best favorite writers. And I've chosen 5 writers whose works I have in Japanese translation. I think it's kind of cool to look at the Japanese editions of the books. I think a lot of them are very beautiful. The selection out here is much wider than I would have expected. Of course, my Japanese level isn't quite as good as I'd like it to be. I don't think it'll ever be. So reading a lot of these books is it's an aspiration more than a reality. But my partner is Japanese, and she's read some of these books, so they're not just sitting here languishing. They're being used and they're being loved. So with that, the first writer I have is Donald Barthelme. I came to Barthelme's short story collections, 40 stories and 60 stories, I think when I was in college. He's got this great mix of surrealism and humor and postmodern experimentation, but he doesn't sacrifice any sentimentality in these stories too. A lot of them are quite moving, and a lot of them are incredibly funny. These 2 books are a great place to start if you haven't read any Barthelme, and his novels are also great, the ones I've read. And I have, let's see, I have The Dead Father, which is an expansion of one of the stories he wrote. I have The King, which is like a sort of mix of like Arthurian myth and World War II. And it's got these really nice illustrations in it throughout. Really great, funny book. I think I talked about this one on the channel. And I have this one, Paradise, which I haven't read yet, and I look forward to getting to. So I was surprised when I was living out here and I was able to find Barthelme's books in Japanese translation. This is The King, and it keeps the same illustrations in the book, and it's got this nice collage of them on the cover, in this really beautiful hardcover. You can see there he is, Donald Barthelme. I just love that it keeps everything the same, the illustrations. I think this cover is a lot more beautiful than the drawing on this one is nice too, but I really like this one. I also have Come Back, Dr. Caligari, which is his first collection of short stories. And this series, this is a series of books in translation from, I think it's all American literature, and they do really great stuff. And these books are beautiful. They've got this nice, like, surreal images and this beautiful end paper and lining. They've done, I think I have these books for Thomas Pynchon as well. I've seen a lot of other like great writers in this series. I keep my eyes open for them. This is another series that does a lot of books in translation. This is his Snow White, his sort of reinterpretation, retelling of the Snow White myth, which I haven't read, but I think is supposed to be very good. And I know a lot of people read it in like university courses about fairy tales. This is another one that has a lot of great writers. I have some of these with Borges and Calvino. This one has all of its like insert material. What is this? This looks like a advertisement for like Tennessee Williams. So these are some of the books that they sell. Let's see, what else do we have here? I see Borges, I see Calvino. Oh, that would be a great one. They have, it looks like Memoirs of Hadrian. It's really cool. This is a great series, and I'm just surprised to be able to get Barthelme out here. Another writer I really love is Ágota Kristóf. I read her big collection, The Notebook, The Proof, and The Third Lie, a handful of years ago, and I totally loved it. She's got this great bleak style. She writes about sort of her childhood and growing up in sort of communist Europe, and she writes about her forced exile. She ended up moving to France, and she was working like a blue-collar job and learning the language before eventually becoming a writer, writing in French. And so in English, I have these three books. I have Yesterday, I have The Illiterate, which is her brief memoir, and I Don't Care, which is some early stories. I unfortunately had to sell my copy of The Notebook, The Proof, and The Third Lie, but I have them in Japanese. This is that trilogy, The Notebook, The Proof, and The Third Lie. This is Yesterday, which is a shorter novel, and then this is some collected nonfiction. These books are incredibly easy to find out here. I don't know what it is about them. There must have been a lot of like buzz around these books when they came out. It's very easy to find them in hardcover at almost any used bookstore, like the Book Offs out here. You can get them for like 200 yen. These two are a little less common. And I just think they're so beautiful. I just think they look so great, and they capture something of the sort of bleak, dark, mysterious, and honest, tragic lives that Kristóf writes about. If you haven't read any Ágota Kristóf, I really recommend it. It is a little dark. So if you're not really into like things that get pretty heavy with stuff like that, maybe that's like a heads up from me. But I really like Ágota Kristóf. I've talked on this channel before about how much I like Mircea Cărtărescu. I had Solenoid in my best books of 2024 video. I've read all of these. Blinding, I'm still waiting for the next installment in this series along with everybody else. Nostalgia was also great. This one, I think because it was published earlier, it had more chance to be sort of further translated. Like, I guess the translating rights were available. And along with this one, Why We Love Women, which I have in this great hardcover with these beautiful illustrations, this series of like Romanian writers that have been paired with artists. So these are the two older translations that I have in Japanese. This is Why We Love Women. This is sort of a smaller book. It's not totally rare. I've seen it like on sale used before, and I was just happy to find it. But the big one for me here is this Nostalgia. I think this book is beautiful, and I think it's really interesting that I've got this this sort of deep red English version and this deep blue Japanese version, and you know, I really associate the bright redness with the events of this book, and I wonder if a reread, if I imagined everything with this blue cover, if anything would change. Yeah, this book is beautiful. Japan really does their sort of hardcover books really well. I'll take off the obi here. You can see the cover. I love this one. This is a book that there's no way I'm going to be able to understand the Japanese, but I sort of you know, it's nice to have it on the shelf to aspire towards. If you haven't read any Cărtărescu, I don't think there's like a poor place to start, with the exception of Why We Love Women. These are like short sketches and sort of fragmentary stories that really are supplementary to the sort of larger body of work. Any of these three, if you can get your hands on them, they're all great. Solenoid is quite long and dense, and Blinding is, of course, the first part of a trilogy, I believe, that is untranslated. The translation is unfinished, so maybe Nostalgia is a good place to start. I know this one is there's like a Penguin Classics, like a modern Penguin Modern Classics version of it. It shouldn't be too hard to get your hands on. Although I think they just did a copy of Blinding too. I've seen like a new copy of Blinding out here. Similar to Kristóf, his writing about childhood in the communist Europe, the ways in which children are able to sort of transcend their circumstances, and how this like ultimately has like an indelible impact on the mind and the spirit of these people. And so when Cărtărescu writes about young adults and older people, the markings of that childhood, they lead to these strange dreamlike diversions. And you know, the colors are really bright in these books. It's kind of like a maze. I just love Cărtărescu so much, and I'm thrilled to have these ones. And you know, one day I'll try to get to this one in the Japanese. One of the writers I talk about the most and I think about the most is Proust. I read the entire series, In Search of Lost Time, I guess 2.5 years ago, and it remains one of the most like transcendent, amazing experiences I've ever had with literature. I think about these books all the time. It's a name that I might say in every single video. I love these books to bits, 1,000,000%, with the exception of maybe like 25% of the Guermantes Way. Other than that, it's like this like pure memory of like literary like nirvana. I really loved reading these books. And if you know, it's a legendary thing. If you've read any Proust, or you've read anyone who's influenced by Proust, you know that it's there's a reason people remember these books and talk about them. And it's certainly not the easiest thing to accomplish reading these books, but I think you'd be surprised how easy it is to be hypnotized by his language and get sort of wrapped up in his world. So I read these books, and I'd like to do a reread at some point. And then I was shopping in Kyoto one day, and I found this entire set of the series In Search of Lost Time in Japanese. These are like the paperback books that you get out here. They sort of go directly from hardcover to this size. These are like the bunko paperbacks. They usually come in like a uniform size and a uniform series by publisher or by series. So they look really nice and uniform on your shelf. They usually have like little tasseled bookmarks in them, although I was flipping through and I think this one does not have that. But they've published all of these books in 2 parts. So these are the 2 parts for Swan's Way. This is book 2. And you've got these really nice paintings depicting images from the books. This one is really evocative of my feelings reading the second book. Here's a look at book 3. Book 4, here's Sodom and Gomorrah. Here's book 5, The Captive. The Fugitive they just have in 1 book. So I guess this one was brief enough to contain in just one of these bunko paperbacks. You can see the text, it fills the whole page. The notes get double columned, split like this. And here's the last one, Time Regained. I love these books. I love Proust. This would be like the end goal of my Japanese language journey. Like if I could read this in Japanese, that would be quite an accomplishment. It's hard to imagine getting to that point. But I just think these books are beautiful. I love to flip through them. This size is like so nice. I love this size. They fit in your pocket. And because they're uniform across like every publisher, you see a lot of people in Japan reading books this size with book covers on. And a lot of times they ask you at the bookstore when you buy something, would you like a book cover? I just think that's great. I think it's so neat that they've got this uniform way of making these books. They make them cheaply, but they aren't cheap books. They don't fall apart. They don't have the same sort of spine like integrity as books from America. So you can really like flip through them and they don't break. They look really nice. But you go to the used bookstore and you can buy these things for like 100 yen. So like, what's that nowadays? 65 cents or something. It's unbelievable. It's pretty lucky, and I'm happy to have these ones. This last one is, I think, my favorite writer. I think when I think about it, choosing right now, of course these things change all the time, but I think my favorite writer is David Markson. I love David Markson, especially these books here. I have these two earlier books too. I have Springer's Progress and Going Down. I do have a little bit of mixed feelings about getting to these. I've heard that Springer's Progress, it sort of, it gets more into like sort of humorous, like farcical stuff, exuberantly Joycean celebration of carnality and creativity. I mean, I don't know. I'd like to give it a shot for sure. And Going Down, it seems to be like Markson's, he couldn't avoid in his own way, like recreating or invoking Under the Volcano by Malcolm Lowry, a book which he has written a book-length study about. This seems to be like his version, going to Mexico and getting lost in the sauce down there. These books, I mean, Wittgenstein's Mistress has just been republished by Dalkey Archives, so you should be able to get a copy. This lost woman, isolated woman, might be the only person. Interspersed internal thoughts and sort of deterioration mixed with factoids about art and literature and history and baseball. The synthesis here is really, really beautiful and something that I admire deeply. And this, like, again, ask me any day, this might be my favorite book. But this idea of using these sort of factoids, these bits of trivia to create a novel, it's heightened even more in these four books, which form a quartet. These three have been published together, but I think publishing rights are a little bit tricky, so they've never all been published together. You can see they've got different publishers. Reader's Block is the first one. This is not a novel, and then Vanishing Point, and then the last novel. If you've never read these books, they are just little bits of like literary and historical trivia, quotes, and especially he dwells on the particulars of the demise of these people. He is fascinated by death and the details of death. He's looking for coincidences and connections and using these, putting these bits of pieces of things he's collected over his life together to find meaning. It's really clear throughout these books that David Markson is grappling with his own death. And so he does this by writing these books where in theory there is no writer at all. He tries to remove himself as much as possible, although he sort of inevitably makes his way into the pages here. And I just like the experience of reading these books. Not only is it great literature, it's also a wonderful like resource, like learning about literature, learning about art and history. A great way to learn about other writers and things you might not know otherwise. These books also deserve a reread. So, of course, this video, I've got these books. I have them in Japanese translation, not all of them. I have this one. This is not a novel. This one was hard to track down, and I actually paid a little bit extra for it. This is not a novel. You can see it keeps the same style, these sort of short, brief factoids of information, although I think there are extensive notes in this one. These are not provided in the English versions, these notes. And then you can see this one. Really nice book. The last one, though, this is sort of the one of my most like treasured books. I think this book is so beautiful. This is Wittgenstein's Mistress in Japanese. I mean, just look at this thing. Totally evocative and beautiful, stunning. This inside, bright pink. You remove it. It's got this great art on the end flaps. What do you call these? The covers, the boards. What a gift. Yeah, let's get the full art here. So there you can see the full cover there. And This is the art. Just beautiful. These books are just in excellent condition, excellent quality. Japan really does their hardcover books well. And so they do charge quite a bit for them. I mean, this is probably like a $30 book. But it's totally worth it in my opinion. It's such a nice thing to have. You see these obies on the books too. They come on the records. If you're into like collecting records, you'll see like the Japanese, it's like a belt that they put on it. This is all just like reviews and information and like advertisement. So a lot of people take these ones off and throw them away. A lot of people take them and they sort of like fold them together and stick them in the book like this, so that if they want to resell it, they can put the obi back on. But I kind of like the look of it, so I think I'm going to keep it on. What I've learned living out here and having these books, the books that are translated into Japanese, they are the ones that it's much easier to find on the shelves at the bookstores. So Ágota Kristóf, not a writer who's super well known, I don't think in the States, but you're able to get her books at the local bookstore. David Markson, this book I got for, do I still have the sticker? Yeah, I got this for 550 yen on like a bargain sale. They had like 10 copies of it. Because it had been translated into Japanese, they order all the books that are coming out in translation. So I was able to get the Cărtărescu, so I wouldn't be surprised if they're working on the translations of Blinding and Solenoid, because those books are also being stocked on the shelves. It's also great for me perusing the Japanese aisles and seeing the books I'd like to have one day. I have a few more of my favorite writers' books in Japanese that I haven't shown here. There's also some that one day I hope to have. I've seen Japanese copies of William Gaddis. I've seen Japanese copies of Roberto Bolaño, and I know there's at least one or two, maybe, William T. Vollmann books in Japanese. You know, it's like a nice side collection and something, again, that I can aspire to one day read. But there you go. That's sort of the writers that I love. They're some of my favorite writers. That's some of the literature you could sort of expect to see if you keep watching these videos. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate all the time and the kind comments I've gotten over the last couple of weeks. And I hope to talk to you again soon. Thank you very much.